Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So you wanna learn how to convert one Python data type to another? Then I suppose you're in the right channel. Grab your coffee, take a seat while we learn together. Thank you. So casting in Python. Please write it using constructor functions. Yeah. So constructor functions. That's what casting in Python is. That's how we do casting. That is how we do casting in Python. So we make use of constructors functions. So e.g. the int is a function, the float. So if you want to cast a let's say you want to specifying, basically specifying. I don't want to keep explain and then digress, keep explain and then digress. So I just want to be on point. So int, float, which other one do you have again? We have complex, right? We have str for string. We have str for string. So these are functions. These are all functions. So let me give you an example. So if you have x is equals to int 1 bar and you print x, you have your 1. But now, let's say we want to cast a. So the reason why we use casting in Python is most time when you are asking users to input something, you want to be specific. You want to be specific. Like you want to be specific. If you ask them to enter their phone number, you want to be specific. If you ask them to enter their full name, you want to be specific with the data you are taking in. So that is why we use casting in Python. So this is what I want to. I want to cast an integer. So if you let's say you enter a string, we'll get there. Don't let me jump the gun. So remember 2. 2.8 is what? It's a float, right? And 100 is an integer, right? Good. If I let's say I want to convert, remember when we did conversion? If I want to cast 2.8 into an integer. So I'll just run x is equals to int. Now this data is it's a float. But then look at what we'll get, 2.8. If I enter and say and print x, you will see that it has turned into what? An integer. You are specific what you are getting. So most time, if you ask users to enter figures, they may enter a float instead of an integer. But then if you are specific with your program, it will take only integer, irrespective of whatever they enter. Example is equals to int, meaning we only want to take integers. Int and say minus 10.7, which is what? A float. If you enter and print y, you will see minus 10, which is an integer. See you get? Now, let me show you. Let me show you. Remember when I was telling about string? So 5 is what now? Remember two double quotes and single quotes. Remember anything in double quotes or single quotes to int, meaning I is the only integer I want to take. If you like enter anything, it will convert to integer. So if I enter a string of 3 like this, you will see what it will print out for us. 4. Do you get? So that is casting. Casting like you are specific with what you are getting. You are really specific with what you want to get. Specific. So that's for integer. So let's look at float casting now. Remember what float are? They are Numbers with decimals. They are numbers with decimals. That is floats. Floats are numbers with decimal. Oops. So we want to cast um, both integer, float, string, and a lot of things. We want to cast them. Want to cast them into float. So we can say um, x. If you say x is equals to a float of 1, now 1 is what? 1 is an integer, right? So this guy will convert our integer to a float by default. So I will say print x. You still get a float back 1.0. Same thing if you say y is equals to a float of, say, a float of 2.8, which is of course a float. No problem. To print your float for you. To 2.8 for you. If you say z is equals to a float of 3, which is string now, no problem. To print float for you. If you even say, let's say you say r is equals to float of 5.7, my guy will not complain. No. As long as you put this float in front to convert anything that is coming to float, 5.7. Anything that is coming, whether it's an integer, whether it's a float, whether it's a string, it will convert the result to a float. I don't know if you get it will convert a float. It will convert anything that is coming. Okay, so let me string. So what are strings again? To reinforce. What are strings? What are strings? Name is a string. Double quote. A string. It's a string. So anything in double quotes is called a string. So we're trying to do casting. We want to cast strings. So if you want to cast a string, same way, str. You can say um, y5, y5. If you enter a print x, if you say y is because of you see something and say 2 or 3 and print y. So these are still the basic level, sha. This is equals to 3, maybe 5.9, and you print C. No wahala. Python strings are, of course, surrounded. Remember, I said surrounded by, I think I explained this thing last time. Well, let me explain again. By either single or what? Or double quotation. You got it right. Or double quotation marks. Yeah, marks. Python strings are surrounded by either a single quotation mark or double quotation marks. So that is what Python strings are. So remember this. So this is a a string hello inside a single quotation mark is what? A string, as well as hello inside a double quotation mark is also a string, right? A string, you must surround them with a what? Either a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark. So you cannot say print, see something. You cannot say print and you not add quotation mark inside this print for string. Say print hello. You see, it will give error because you are trying to print a string. So, but if you say print and you include the double quotation mark, hello, no problem. You're good to go. No problem. No. Sure, you understand. So, and also you can print with single quote. No problem. So when you're printing, when you're working with anything string, they must be in a quotation. They must be surrounded with by a quotation mark. By quotation mark. Either anyone want to be by quotation mark. So you can assign string to a, remember, variable. You can assign string to a variable. So you can say a equals to, you can say so you can say a is equals to hello. Then if you print a, you get hello. So now you have assigned a string to a variable, right? Good. So let me ask again. What are strings?